Hey boss, today I want to talk about back to work challenges post-COVID. And the reason I picked this topic is really because I had recently had a conversation with an executive who is planning their return for their employees after Labor Day through the end of the year. And so we were talking about some of the challenges that possibly could be impacting their team and the company. And so I wanted to share those ideas, those challenges that you probably might need to think about as well if you are planning to bring your employees back later this year or after the first of the year. And so, hey, I'm Dr. Heather Williamson with the Transformation Group, and welcome back to the channel. Hey, please share this video with others who may also be thinking about bringing their employees back to work after the Labor Day or through the end of the year or early next year, because these are some things that you really need to consider prior to bringing your employees back to work in the office. And so I want to talk about really four things. There are several others, but I want to focus on these four just to get you started. And the first is you need to have some kind of a policy set up that addresses several things. The first thing that you need to think about is what is the working expectations when you have those who are working from home and those that are working from the office. So what expectations are you going to have, or what policies need to be in place in order to make sure that there is some equity there or fairness? The second thing to consider is, are you going to have more of a hybrid model, whereas some of the employees may come back to work 1 or 2 days a week, or maybe 1 week out of the month? So think about those expectations and that thought process of what is going to be involved with how many days that you really want someone in the office to start really interacting with your colleagues. Also, what kind of opportunities or considerations need to be put in place to make sure that there is fairness? And I say this because your employees are going to be really cognizant of the fact that, hey, if I'm not in the office, then I'm not as visible, and versus those who are in the office. And you need to set up some kind of policy where when it comes to opportunities or opportunities, whether it's a promotion or taking on additional responsibilities like leading a project, they also need to be considered even if they are not working in the office and working remotely. So make sure that you have some kind of standard set up that you are taking in consideration those employees that are working remotely when it comes to opportunities. Now, the second thing to consider when you're bringing your employees back is that they are going to be feeling a little anxious, a little anxiety. And so one of the things to think about when you are trying to address their feelings of anxiety, because you don't want that, obviously, in the workplace. So you need to think about, because they're thinking about it, what is going back to the office look like? What is that work experience going to be? So make sure that that is clearly defined. Also make sure that those who have children, obviously the last year and a half, the kids have either been not in school, depending on where you are, or there's been a hybrid model. So that may also continue in the fall. If it does, make sure that you are setting up some kind of policy that focuses on them and those challenges that the employee is going to experience. Also think about social expectations. Now, your employees, there's going to be a little anxiety there because they're going to be thinking, all right, some people may not want to shake hands. Some people may just want to do a fist bump or not at all. Some people just may not want to be in close proximity. And so there's going to be a little anxiety thinking, you know, how is Joe going to want me to approach him? How is Sarah going to want me to approach her? So there's going to be a little anxiety there, so just be aware of that. Also, think about the fact of another anxious or fear may be, I used to have a lot of meetings prior to the shutdown. So what is going to be the expectation with regard to meetings now? Is it going to be fewer in nature? Is it going to be just less people attending? So make sure that that is clearly defined as well. Also, think about what if there is another shutdown and you have to send your employees home? What is that plan, that pre-exit plan for your employees if there is another shutdown? Also, think about when you come to consider all of these things that your employees may fear or they may be anxious about that is causing them to be a little resistant. And take into consideration all of these and then address them one by one. And there may be more that pop up, so think about that as well. One other thing to consider is the third is to stagger your employees coming back to work. So I have spoken with several executives about this, and this is a policy that they are now implementing as well. So depending on, think about the role that that person has, their responsibilities, and also maybe their skill sets. Do they have to come back now, such as maybe in an accounting department, or can they work remotely or hybrid for a while? Also consider making sure that you are taking into account all the needs that your employees have. So being able to accommodate those needs is important. And then the last tip I have for you really to consider, and that is to survey your employees. I think it's really important to be really knowledgeable on what your employees are concerned about. What are their fears that they have about returning to work? And what are the challenges that they will have to experience once they come back to work, such as helping with elderly family members, helping with elderly sick family members, or even, like I said before, children who are not going back to school. So survey your people, and this will let them know that you are aware of some challenges and fears that may exist and that you are actually addressing them. And I know I'm working actually with a company on this starting this week. So this is going to be, I'm sure I'm going to get some really interesting information that I may turn into another video. So anyway, let's address those four things that you really need to consider when you are bringing your employees back to the office later this year. The first is identify and set some policies that will help streamline things when you get for the employees when you get back to work. Also, make sure that you address feelings of anxiety within your employees. And then also stagger your employees coming back based on what is needed within the company. And then the fourth is survey your employees to find out exactly what is going on in their head. So hopefully you actually got some great ideas out of this and will implement them. Please let me know in the comment section below what you found interesting and what you're going to implement back in your company. And if there are some other things that we should probably be addressing as business leaders in the organization and within the community. So hopefully you got some value out of this. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my leadership tips and videos that come out weekly. And last but not least, go out and be that boss that your employees want to work for. Until next time.